everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I thought I'd chat because I'm just really enjoying doing like these little like sit down, chill, chat about stuff that I like videos. So I thought I'd chat about my favourite musical soundtracks. Massive fan of musical theatre. I always have been, I always will be. So I thought I'd chat about my 5 favourite musical soundtracks which just bring me life and I can listen to all day, every day, any time of the day. So, let's go. Number 1 of my favourites is Bonnie and Clyde. Now, Bonnie and Clyde did a really short run off of Broadway. It starred Jeremy Jordan and Laura Osnes, and the soundtrack, obviously I haven't seen it, but the soundtrack is so good. Like, the music is incredible in it. You know, you've got 2 of these big massive Broadway powerhouses, and it's just amazing. I think my favourite song is probably Diane Ain't So Bad, but I mean they're all absolute bops. They're all so good. My second one on my list is one I didn't really fully discover until recently, and that's Newsies. Now, going into lockdown, obviously, as I've said in previous videos, I got Disney Plus. Now, I didn't know that they'd done an official recording of Newsies until I got Disney Plus. I don't know how it escaped my knowledge, because I heard like the odd song before. I knew Seize the Day from their Tony Award performance. I knew Watch What Happens, and I knew like The World Will Know and King of New York, and that was about it. I didn't know anything about the show, really, apart from some boys were going on strike. So I watched it and I fell in love. The soundtrack is amazing. I mean, the show is amazing, but the soundtrack is so good. Some of the harmonies in it are incredible. You've got like this bit towards, in one of the ending songs, where like everyone comes together, and like in the show, like they all come forwards on like this big platform. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. Newsies blows me away, man. It's one of those where there's so many moments in the music where, I don't know if anyone else gets it, but like as the music swells, it's almost like you feel like it sounds so lame, but like you feel like your heart and your soul like swell with the music, and like it gets to like that pinnacle of the climax, and it just like, like I get that so much in Newsies. It's just so good. Number 3 is one that should get more love, and when I heard about this musical, I was not convinced, and that's Shrek the musical. I was not convinced. I was like, oh god, they're making a musical out of Shrek, and then they did a professional recording of the show, and I sat down and I watched it with my mum and my dad, and at the end, me and my mum just sort of looked at each other and went, holy crap, that was so much better than I expected it to be. The soundtrack is amazing. I mean, you've got Sutton Foster and Brian Darcy James as like the 2 mains, and just they both have such wonderful voices. I mean, I love Sutton Foster. Like, everything she does, like her voice is so good. Like, she is so good at everything that she does. My little Sutton Foster crush. Just Shrek the musical has got some absolute tunes. Like, it's one of those where like you can listen to it whenever and it will lift you up and it will just make you feel real good. And that's why I love it. Number 4 is another show that didn't really have much of a run. It's one of those that no one really talks about. It's also another one where I didn't know what I'd think about it before I went to go and see it, and that's Wonderland. So it did a short run on Broadway and then was like never heard from again, until 2 years ago, I think it was now, 2 or 3 years ago, it did a tour of the UK. It only ended up doing half a tour because there was a massive scandal about people not paying people properly, which was awful. But I was lucky enough to go and see it before it closed, and it's just so good. Like, I am a massive Alice in Wonderland fan. I wasn't sure because I'm very much like, the original is my baby, so when I heard like the Mad Hatter's a woman, I was like, oh no, like they're messing with the original story and blah 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 blah. But I mean, I was stupid because it's amazing. Like, I went to see it with my mum and Max, and like Max was the same as well. He was like, I don't really know what it's gonna be like, and we both came away from it like, oh my god, the music's amazing. Like, there's one bit in it with the Cheshire Cat song where the dude full on does a handstand and walks on his hands whilst holding this one note. Like, I mean, the guy that we watched, he did not falter. Like, there was no waver in his voice. It was just perfectly done, and it's just so good. I mean, there's some absolute bops. I mean, the irony that I said I didn't know if I liked the Mad Hatter, her 2 songs I live for. They are absolute bangers of a tune. They're sort of kind of rocky, and like they get you pumped up to do anything. It's so good. So if you haven't listened to Wonderland, go and listen to Wonderland, because it deserves a lot of love, man. It deserves a lot of love. Before I get to number 5, I'm gonna do some honourable mentions, because I wanted to do a list of my top 5, and then as I got to number 5, I realised that there were a lot of musicals of the soundtrack that I love, like, which I wanted to include, but they weren't quite on my top 5 level. They were all like essentially front runners for number 5. Under number 5, I guess they should all be 6. They'll just all be 6. And those musicals are Dear Evan Hansen. Some of the harmonies in that musical, I mean, You Will Be Found will make me cry every single time. Whenever I'll be like playing it somewhere in the flat, and I'll just hear Maxie yell at me from the other room like, no, don't do it, you'll cry. It's just so good. Like, Requiem is a tune. Sincerely Me is a bop. The whole soundtrack is just so good. Another one is Sister Act. I adore, I love, love, love the original Sister Act film. It made, when I was a kid, do you ever like, I mean, everyone does. Everyone thinks and does silly things when they were a kid. The film Sister Act made me want to join a convent, because I wanted to be in the choir, because I thought it would be like Sister Act. Now, bear in mind, I have nothing against people who are religious. I personally am not. And I'm pretty sure that that's the #1 factor of being a nun. It won't just be like Sister Act in the choir. So when I heard the soundtrack for the musical of Sister Act, I fell in love with The Life I Never Led. I mean, Mary Roberts is my fave anyway. The Life I Never Led, I sung Fabulous Baby in a show once. Like, it's just so good. So good. Cats is up there. When I say Cats, I mean the original Andrew Lloyd Webber production. I have not watched the new film. I don't want to watch the new film. It upsets my core and my soul. I know I should probably give it a chance, but I just don't think I can. So the original, like, musical soundtrack of Cats, yes please. Ghost is another one. I saw Ghost when it went on its UK tour originally a couple of years back. That was incredible. Like, some of the harmonies in that show are sensational. I'm just jabbing myself because I'm so excited about Ghost. I just love it. It's so good. After Ghost, we have got Starlight Express. Starlight Express gets a lot of hate, and I'm not entirely sure why. I think because people really just generally like to hate on Andrew Lloyd Webber's musicals for some reason. But I really like Starlight Express. You've got some real tunes in that soundtrack. I mean, when I went to see the show, again, I went to see it when it came on tour, it was amazing. Like, some of the stunts in that show, I realise I'm meant to be talking about soundtracks, but I'm just talking about the whole show by this point. Starlight Express is like teetering on, it's a solid 6 with the rest of these 6s. Which brings me to the final one, which is number 5, and that's Lion King. Like, it pleases both my musical heart and my Disney heart. It brings them both together in a nice little mesh of love. It's so good. Like, they've added songs in which are amazing. Like, all the songs that they've added in are amazing. I mean, I cry at the movie version of Circle of Life, but if you put the Broadway version on, I become a little child and I bawl my eyes out without fail every single time, because it's just, you know what I was saying about when your heart like swells? Like, Circle of Life on the Broadway soundtrack just kind of makes my heart like explode out my chest. Like, it's so good. And I've realised I've just rambled my whole way through this video to the point where my camera battery is flashing, it's gonna die, so I should probably wrap it up at some point. Let me know, like, your favourite musicals, like, what soundtracks, like, any of the ones that I've mentioned, like, if there's any songs, like, that just, like, get you here. If you know that feeling that I mean, where it just, it gets you right where you live, let me know down in the comment section below. Thank you very much for watching. Like, subscribe, all that jazz, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!